They thought killing Go Gun-hee would break him, that taking out the one man who truly believed in Jinwoo would slow him down. But they didn't realize, grief only made him stronger. The moment Gun-hee fell, the world shifted, and in that silence, 3 ancient kings stepped forward. They weren't here to fight, they came to end him. But Jinwoo wasn't just mourning, he was remembering. And when the first king made a move, Jinwoo didn't dodge. He rose, one shadow against 3 kings, and from that moment, it was war. The Frost Monarch, the so-called Ice Elf, stared at Jinwoo. He noticed the shadows gathering behind him, an entire army hidden in the darkness. And in that moment, he realized the terrifying truth. The true Shadow Monarch stands before me. He wondered bitterly why Jinwoo hadn't contacted the others if he had already amassed such a powerful force. Meanwhile, Jinwoo looked at him sharply. He recognized this creature, the same Frost Monarch, the one I once failed to extract. It had been so long, Jinwoo had almost forgotten, but the Monarch hadn't. To the Frost Monarch, this was a long-missed opportunity, the key mistake they'd made. The Frost Monarch suddenly exhaled a freezing breath, unleashing a wave of deadly cold that froze everything nearby. But Jinwoo dodged easily, his instincts razor-sharp. Without hesitation, he summoned his dagger. The magical weapon materialized in his hand, gleaming dangerously. With a flick of his wrist, Jinwoo shattered the surrounding ice in an instant. The Frost Monarch backed away slightly. "I didn't plan to fight the Lord of Shadows today," he muttered, annoyed. Jinwoo frowned. What's he talking about? The Frost Monarch kept speaking, his voice slippery. "You came to save the man above us, didn't you?" Jinwoo didn't understand at first. Then, following the Monarch's gaze, he looked up and saw it. The president of the Hunter Association, lying unconscious and gravely injured inside the shattered building overhead. The Frost Monarch sneered, raising an ice spear and aiming it toward the president. "Choose," he said mockingly. "Save him, or fight me." And with that, he threw the spear. Jinwoo moved instantly. He activated his Monarch's authority, trying to stop the spear mid-air. But the Frost Monarch canceled the effect with a counterspell. Thinking fast, Jinwoo launched himself upward. He hurled his dagger at a nearby window, shattering it, using the opening to climb faster. The ice spear was about to strike, but Jinwoo reached the president just in time, deflecting the attack with a powerful sweep of his dagger. Down below, the Frost Monarch began casting a portal to escape. But Jinwoo wasn't about to let him slip away so easily. He summoned multiple shadow daggers, sending them flying toward the Monarch. The blades pierced through the Frost Monarch's body as he stepped into the portal. Even so, the Monarch turned with a cruel smile. "This vessel was better than expected," he admitted. "But next time, we will meet again, Shadow Monarch. Take your pitiful army and consider this my parting gift." And with that, he vanished into the portal. Jinwoo cursed under his breath. If only the barrier hadn't blocked my senses. He turned back to the president. One glance was enough to know. Ordinary healing potions wouldn't be enough. The president's life was slipping away. Jinwoo immediately summoned Baru, his trusted general. "Save him," Jinwoo ordered urgently. "Save him at any cost." Baru started the healing process with all his strength. But after a few moments, he turned back, shaking his head sorrowfully. "Forgive me, my king. I cannot." Jinwoo clenched his fists. In desperation, he pulled out his last vial of holy water of life, preparing to use it. But before he could, the president's hand rose weakly and stopped him. The president smiled faintly. "It's all right," he whispered. "You've come. That's enough." Jinwoo, voice shaking, tried to insist. "Hold on. I'll take you to a hospital." But the president shook his head. "It's too late. My body won't survive." Tears welled up in Jinwoo's eyes as the president spoke one last time. He told Jinwoo about the war between the rulers and the monarchs, that the gates, the dungeons, hadn't been meant to destroy humanity, but to protect it. And now the final battle was coming. "One day," the president said, his voice growing fainter, "you will have to make a choice. Stay with humanity, Jinwoo. Fight for them." He smiled weakly. "I wish I could have fought alongside you, with all the hunters by my side. But even if I fall, a new generation is rising. Talented hunters like you." His breathing grew shallow. "Tens of thousands of years have passed. My heart kept beating, waiting to meet you. And now, I'm so glad I did. Thank you. Thank you so much." Those were his final words. The president's hand slipped from Jinwoo's grasp, and he moved no more. As if mourning with him, the barrier and frozen remnants of the building began to collapse. The sky outside darkened. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The next day, under heavy clouds and relentless rain, the funeral was held. A cold, stormy autumn day, fitting for the tragedy. The world was reeling. News headlines blared. Jonas, the Brazilian hunter, found dead. The president of the Korean Hunter Association, killed. Christopher Reed, the American powerhouse, slain. Humanity was thrown into chaos. Governments scrambled for answers. The deaths of the greatest hunters, the ones humanity depended on, struck a deep, paralyzing fear into the hearts of all. If even the hunters cannot survive, one reporter said grimly, who will protect the ordinary people? Jinwoo stood silently at the president's funeral. The rain poured relentlessly. He made a silent vow. I won't let your sacrifice be in vain. I will fight, and I will protect this world. After the funeral, Jinwoo stood in silence, lost in thought. Beside him, Assistant Jeong, the late president's right-hand man, approached. His face was pale, his body trembling with the weight of grief. Are you all right? Jinwoo asked quietly. Jeong nodded weakly and apologized. I'm sorry, Hunter Nim. I wasn't sober when you needed me most. Then, his voice breaking, he asked, that monster, the one who killed the chairman, even you couldn't defeat him? Jinwoo replied calmly, when I arrived, he had already escaped. Jeong clenched his fist in frustration. The day before, he had begged Jinwoo to come back quickly from the international conference, and now it was too late. Still, he managed a grateful smile and said, thank you. Thank you for being with the chairman at the end. But Jinwoo shook his head. Don't thank me yet. I will find that bastard and kill him myself. Soon after, Jinwoo requested that reporters be summoned. Despite the heavy, suffocating atmosphere, the Korean Hunter Association arranged an urgent press conference. Jinwoo stood before the cameras, facing a sea of anxious faces. A group of highly evolved monsters, he announced, have begun targeting the top-ranked hunters worldwide. Gasps echoed through the room. They are extremely powerful and ruthless. One reporter quickly raised a hand. Was the president of the Hunter Association killed by them? Jinwoo nodded grimly. Yes, several creatures from that group orchestrated his death. He continued, before they strike, these monsters use interdimensional magic to isolate their victims, cutting them off from help. To survive, hunters must stay close to each other, or to those strong enough to protect them. Jinwoo remembered the Frost Monarch's words. He called himself the Ice Monarch, just like there had been a giant monarch, and now himself, the Shadow Monarch. No normal hunter could stand against beings like these. If you find yourself without protection, Jinwoo said firmly, contact the Korean Hunter Association. I will fight them. The battle against the monarchs has already begun. Meanwhile, far beyond human sight, in another realm, the monarchs were gathering. The Frost Monarch addressed the others, his voice filled with urgency. The Shadow Monarch is alive, and he's here, on Earth. The others stirred in unease. But wasn't it said that no vessel could withstand his power? One asked. Even the Dragon Monarch can't be here because of that. The Frost Monarch nodded grimly. I saw it with my own eyes. He's more dangerous than even the shards of light. He begged them, help me destroy him while he's still human, before he becomes unstoppable. But the other monarchs hesitated. One protested, fighting him would be suicide. He's one of the strongest beings from the Age of Chaos. Another said, better to wait for the Dragon Monarch. The Monarch of Destruction will take care of him. The Frost Monarch, desperate, pleaded, if we strike now, we can still win. If we wait, it'll be too late. But they shook their heads. We won't follow the same path as the Demon King, one monarch muttered. You know what happened to him. Devoured by the Shadow Monarch's power, trapped in eternal sleep. Another added, the Shadow Monarch and the Architect have created copies, using the power of death. We won't become playthings in his world. One by one, they turned away. Only one figure remained, a slender, feminine monarch, the Plague Monarch. She smiled slyly. You're right, she told the Frost Monarch. The Shadow Monarch's vessel is still human. I'll help you. Together, they plotted their next move. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the skies over Korea darkened. A storm raged across the land. And in that stormy night, people whispered anxiously, when the next S-rank gate opens, who will protect us? Even if they spent a fortune, no house, no city would be safe. Hunter Sung Jinwoo stood atop a tall building, staring into the storm. Magic still lingered faintly in the air. He thought about what he had learned. The monarchs and the rulers were both immortals. They had no shadows, which meant they couldn't be tracked the way monsters usually were. But it didn't matter. As long as I'm a hunter, Jinwoo thought, I'll find my prey, no matter what. 1 week passed since the president's death. Within the Hunter Association, chaos reigned. The 5 major guilds, once kept in check by the association's authority, now grew restless. A meeting was called to decide the next chairman. Tension filled the room. The backbone of Korean hunters is gone, someone said gravely. Who can lead us now? Another suggested, we must appoint another S-rank hunter to maintain balance. But there was hesitation. An outsider could destabilize things further, one warned. Debate filled the air. But no matter the decision, everyone knew one thing for certain. The world was changing, and they had precious little time left to prepare. Inside the meeting room of the Hunter Association, the heavy discussion continued. One of the executives suddenly suggested a surprising candidate for the new chairman, Jeong Chul. Jeong blinked in shock. Me? Why me? The man explained, You were closest to the late chairman. You learned from him directly. You have leadership experience, the respect of the hunters, and, most importantly, strong connections. He added, there's no law that says the chairman has to be a top-ranked hunter. Influence and trust matter more. Another board member spoke up. You're the one who personally dealt with hunters and kept order when needed. Everyone here believes you're the right person. Jeong Chul hesitated, overwhelmed. I'm too young, he said. There are so many more qualified people. Deputy heads, directors, far more experienced than me. But the others insisted. We lack the power to control the guilds. You, Mr. Jeong, have influence, and you have a connection to Hunter Sung Jinwoo. Jeong tried to argue. I've worked with him, yes, but I don't think he sees me that way. Still, they pressed him to consider. Please think about it carefully. Meanwhile, across the ocean in America, Thomas Andre and his secretary descended an elevator. Thomas was in a surprisingly cheerful mood. It's been a while since I've been here, he said casually. As the elevator doors opened, the security guards jumped to attention. The secretary hesitated. Sir, are you really sure you want to give away that? Thomas shrugged. It's just gathering dust here anyway. Better it serves someone who'll use it. They entered a secured vault deep underground. In a reinforced drawer, a radiant energy pulsed, powerful and ancient. Thomas smiled at the sight. Still beautiful, he murmured. There were only 2 of these weapons in the entire world, and Thomas had decided to give one away. Feels like a waste to leave it locked up, he said. This blade deserves to see battle again. The next day, the news across Korea exploded. Jeong Chul had been officially appointed as the new chairman of the Hunter Association. At home, Gina, Jinwoo's younger sister, watched the news with wide eyes. Yesterday, they announced the chairman's death, and today they already found a replacement, she said in disbelief. But wow, he's kinda handsome. The country remained unstable. The people were scared. Gina sighed, turning to see her mother doing the dishes. Without thinking, she rushed over and hugged her tightly. Her mom chuckled. If you have this much energy, take out the trash for me. Nope, too lazy. Gina grinned. Suddenly she asked, Mom, don't you want to move somewhere safer? But her mother shook her head warmly. This is our home. I'm happy here. As Gina went to grab the laundry, something strange caught her eye, and she bolted back to her mother, panic in her voice. At the same time, back at the Ajin Guild office, chaos was brewing. 2 unexpected visitors had arrived, and not just anyone. It was Thomas Andre, the Goliath himself, and Leonard Nierman, Germany's top hunter. They had been sitting there for 2 hours. Poor Jinho was losing his mind. Why are they here? Where's Young? He's not answering his phone. Leonard, who was sitting nearby, also seemed tense. I can't believe Thomas Andre himself is here to meet Hunter Sung Jinwoo. The secretary informed them politely. Mr. Sung is currently on a raid. He doesn't come to the office often. Suddenly, the door swung open. Jinwoo stepped inside. The room instantly froze. Then everyone practically shouted in unison, Master! Jinwoo blinked, looking around. He spotted Thomas sitting calmly in a chair. He also noticed a huge gathering of partners outside the building earlier. Thomas is doing, he thought immediately. He could feel Thomas's powerful aura from kilometers away. Jinho rushed up. Hyung, why weren't you answering? Thomas Andre's been waiting forever. Thomas only smiled. I was busy, Jinwoo said casually. Jinho pointed at Jinwoo's ruffled clothes. Were you fighting? Jinwoo shrugged. Had a breakthrough during the raid. Rank promotion challenge. Then Thomas stood up and faced Jinwoo directly. It's been a long time, he said, his deep voice filling the room. Jinho was sweating nervously, praying they wouldn't suddenly start fighting here. He quickly asked, So, what brings you to Korea, Thomas Nim? Thomas grinned. Don't you remember? I promised to treat you to lunch after my arm healed. He added, and I brought you a gift. Something bombastic. Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. Bombastic? Thomas lowered his voice. Better not unwrap it here. It's too dangerous. Jinwoo frowned slightly. Did you seriously bring a bomb into my guild? Then he noticed Leonard Nierman still sitting quietly nearby. Another powerful presence. This is going to be interesting, Jinwoo thought. Inside the Ajin Guild office, Jinwoo turned his attention to the man standing beside Thomas. Who are you? He asked. The man replied politely. Leonard Nierman. Jinwoo recognized the name immediately. Germany's top-ranked hunter. He must have come here for something important, Jinwoo thought. But before Jinwoo could say more, Thomas Andre stepped between them, shielding Leonard with a big hand. Thomas shook his head. Not today. This conversation isn't for your ears. You can go back to Germany. Leonard stiffened, surprised by Thomas's bluntness. No one had ever talked down to him like that. He opened his mouth to protest. He had waited 2 hours for this meeting, but Thomas's glare silenced him. Jinwoo sighed internally. Typical Thomas. Soon after, Jinwoo and Thomas left the office and headed to a nearby restaurant. They sat at a private table and Thomas wasted no time. He gestured to his subordinate who placed a sturdy black case onto the table. Thomas grinned like a kid about to reveal a secret. I've been waiting a long time for this. He flipped the case open. and a powerful surge of magical energy flooded the room. Jinwoo's eyes widened. Inside, gleaming with dangerous beauty, were two short daggers, crafted from dragon teeth. Thomas chuckled at Jinwoo's expression. Recognize it? Jinwoo nodded slowly. Reed's corpse? The Dragon Emperor? These are his teeth. Thomas confirmed it. The US government wanted to create paired weapons. They pulled out the sharpest tooth Reed had left, the one that almost killed me, and let me keep it as a souvenir. Too small for a two-handed sword, so I forged these daggers instead. He smiled warmly. I can't think of a better person to wield them. Jinwoo lifted the daggers carefully. Their stats appeared before his eyes. High-quality Dragon Fang daggers. Superior sensitivity to mana attack power plus 1,500 mana. Amplification based on user ability. Jinwoo couldn't believe it. 1,500 attack power? Even the Demon King's daggers paled in comparison. These are atomic bombs disguised as weapons. He tested the balance, swinging one experimentally. The blade moved like an extension of his body, singing through the air. Thomas watched, amused. Those little crumbs could punch through my armor like paper, he said. If you wanted to, I wouldn't even be able to escape. He half joked, but maybe don't kill me with my own gift, all right? Jinwoo smiled faintly. He could feel it, and these weren't ordinary daggers. They welcomed his touch, as if responding to his strength. Thomas turned to his secretary. Still think I made the wrong choice? She shook her head quickly. Jinwoo lowered the daggers back into the case. Why give these to me for free? He asked. They're worth more than anything money could buy. Thomas's face grew serious. Because you spared my guild members. Their lives are priceless. Jinwoo nodded. Then I'll gladly accept them. He stood, bowing slightly. But suddenly, both Jinwoo and Thomas stiffened. A strange, overwhelming energy filled the air. They looked up instinctively, and outside crowds had gathered, all staring at the sky. A massive gate had appeared above Seoul. Not just big, monstrous. People began recording videos, streaming live across social media. A huge gate has opened above Seoul. This is bigger than anything we've ever seen. News anchors scrambled to cover it. Experts spoke grimly. This gate dwarfs anything since the first magical outbreaks. And worse, we may see similar gates appear worldwide. Jinwoo stepped outside, summoning Kaizal, his shadow dragon, and flew up to get a closer look. He hovered near the gate, feeling its oppressive pressure. It's like a wall, he realized. Something is building behind it. Something we've never faced before. Even an awakened like him couldn't cross this threshold easily. And beyond it, monsters unlike anything Earth had seen. His friends, his family, they were standing right under this. Just then his phone buzzed. It was President Go Gun-hee's successor, Manager Gion. The call was rough, the signal barely holding because of the magical interference. Can you hear me? Gion shouted. Barely, Jinwoo replied. Call me chairman now. Gion joked awkwardly. Though I don't deserve it. Jinwoo let it slide. The chairman got straight to the point. Have you reviewed the satellite scans I sent? I did. Jinwoo nodded grimly. No other gates appeared around the world. Just this one. Over Seoul. 3 hours had passed since the gate's appearance, and not a single additional one had opened anywhere else. It wasn't a coincidence. This gate, this massive, ominous phenomenon, okay, this was no accident. The chairman spoke again. We're preparing to evacuate the civilians near the gate. Jinwoo stared up at the swirling clouds and the massive tear in the sky. Whatever is coming through this gate will change the world, and Jinwoo would be standing right there, ready to meet it head-on. To prevent mass panic, the Hunter Association decided they would evacuate civilians gradually, buying precious time before chaos erupted. On a call with Chairman Gion, Jinwoo asked, "What will you do while all this unfolds?" The chairman replied honestly, "I don't even know what will happen tomorrow." Neither did Jinwoo. A few hours later, inside the association's private gym, Jinwoo was sparring, training hard against Baru. The Ant General attacked from every angle, his movements sharp and relentless. Jinwoo dodged smoothly, parrying each blow. Finally, during one exchange, Jinwoo caught Baru's arm mid-strike. He smiled. Are you sure you're giving it everything you've got? Baru immediately yanked his arm back, bowing deeply. Forgive me, my king. I would never dare to hold back. But Jinwoo laughed softly. Relax. I just wanted a real workout. You're one of the few who can actually push me this far. Baru lowered his head even more, humbled by the praise. Jinwoo teased, You're getting better at expressing your feelings. Didn't you eat people before? Baru twitched awkwardly, embarrassed. As the training resumed, Baru moved even faster, his attacks sharper. He had gotten stronger after being promoted to commander rank. Still, as quick as he was, Jinwoo handled him with ease. Between dodges, Jinwoo spoke calmly. You know, once Igris and Greed reach the general rank, it won't be long before they qualify for commander. If you don't want them to take your spot, you'd better fight harder. Beru roared, unleashing a flurry of faster, deadlier attacks, but it still wasn't enough. With one heavy blow, Jinwoo sent Baru crashing into a nearby wall. Baru knelt down, panting. Your strength constantly surprises me, my king. Jinwoo chuckled. Maybe I should block TV channels that air too many historical dramas. You're getting dramatic. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. Training's over. Let's get serious now. He called the chairman again. I need you to listen carefully. And don't freak out. I have 300 insects in place, scanning everything. They're doing a great job. Meanwhile, at a luxury hotel in Seoul, Thomas Andre sat calmly by the lobby window, gazing up at the giant gate looming over the city. The receptionist asked if he planned to leave soon. Thomas just laughed. Leave? How could I abandon something this magnificent? Anything that makes my heart pound is beautiful. The breath of a dragon, the giant gate, Hunter Sung Jinwoo's power, all beautiful. His secretary sighed. There are some things you simply can't have, sir. Thomas chuckled. Maybe, but even if they can't be owned, they can still be admired. He looked serious for a moment. If we can't stop it here, the world might not have another chance. This could be humanity's last stand, or its new beginning. Outside, panic gripped Seoul. Traffic jams stretched for miles. Families fled, desperate to get away from the gate overhead. At Jinwoo's home, Gina turned to her mother anxiously. Mom, shouldn't we evacuate too? But her mother smiled gently. If this place is destined to become a battlefield, I'd rather choose where I die. This is our home. Gina bit her lip. But I want to go to college next year. I still have my whole life ahead of me. Her mother nodded, hugging her tightly. Don't worry, your brother will protect us, just like your father once did. Meanwhile, Jinwoo sat alone atop a tall building, watching the panicked city below. The air crackled with tension. Where are they hiding? He wondered. The enemy. The real enemy. He knew he could handle the fight, but he wasn't sure he could save everyone. He had too much to protect now. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through his contacts. If this was my last day, who would I want to spend it with? His finger hovered and paused on one name, Cha Hae-In. At that moment, Hunter Cha was training in a taekwondo studio, sparring with her instructor. But the teacher noticed something off. You're hesitating, he said. Are you afraid? He smiled sadly. It's okay. I'm afraid too. I can't imagine what kind of monsters you've faced. He flexed his shoulder absent-mindedly, recalling the day he lost his arm to a beast. Just then, Cha's phone rang. She glanced at the screen, her expression changed. Sorry, master, she said urgently. I have to go. Her teacher gave a knowing nod. He didn't ask who had called. He already knew. Hours later, they walked together through the city streets, Jinwoo and Cha. Passers-by gasped in recognition. Is that Hunter Sung Jinwoo? Wait, isn't that Hunter Cha from the Hunter Guild? A small crowd gathered, whispering. But Jinwoo paid them no mind. There are more people here than I expected, he murmured. Cha smiled gently. Not the best place for a stroll. Jinwoo shrugged. It's not that I like crowded places. I just wanted to come here once. She tilted her head curiously. Why bring me along? He hesitated. Because you're my friend. She blinked. Memories flooded back of a time long ago in a dark, ancient dungeon, standing before the statue god, facing death together. Back then, she had said it. We're friends. And now, on the eve of the greatest battle, he had chosen her to share this quiet moment. Cha Hae-In stood there, her heart racing. Jinwoo had just casually mentioned how she came here to save him. And honestly, it embarrassed the hell out of her. She thought he hadn't heard her say that back then. But he had. And he just brushed it off with that calm smile of his, like it was no big deal. She shook it off and asked, kinda awkwardly, Hey, what even is this dungeon? Jinwoo scratched his head, looking off into the distance. Honestly, no clue, he said, chuckling. Still figuring that part out. Before she could say anything else, she caught something out of the corner of her eye. Some random dude was yelling, Hey, I'm a huge fan. She spun around, and that's when she noticed it. The whole area had been quietly locked down by Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, forming a protective circle, stopping normal people from getting too close. Cha let out a soft sigh. I think we're kinda drawing more attention, not less, she teased. But Jinwoo just smiled. People stop noticing if you don't pay him any mind. Cha Hae-In found herself thinking back. It had been, 2 years since she first became a hunter? She couldn't remember the last time she felt so lighthearted, so normal. And yet, whenever she was near Jinwoo, it was like some forgotten part of herself came alive again. She caught that same scent, that familiar, comforting scent that only he carried. Out of nowhere, Jinwoo pointed toward a nearby amusement park. You want to ride the slides? He asked. She blinked. Seriously? He grinned. And just like that, they were running toward the slides. They tried a few of them, but honestly, their faces stayed stone cold the whole way down. Neither of them even flinched. They'd fought monsters that made these rides look like a joke. Later, when they sat down to eat, Jinwoo asked, You having fun? Cha nodded quickly. Yeah, actually a lot. He smirked. You didn't even scream once. Then it hit him. Maybe the slides are just too slow for S-rank hunters. And right then, a mischievous grin lit up his face. Hey, you want to ride something really fun? A little while later, they were soaring high over Seoul on the back of Kaizul, his shadow dragon. Cha's hair whipped around her face as she gasped. This is insane. It's so high, so beautiful. Jinwoo laughed. Mission accomplished. As they glided through the clouds, Cha turned to him and asked, "Why'd you take me to the amusement park if you had this badass dragon?" Jinwoo looked a little serious for a second. "That park? It was built on the site where my father disappeared. Always wanted to visit it. Just once." Cha's heart ached a little at that. She smiled softly. "Thanks for taking me." They flew for a while longer until the sky turned deep blue and the first stars started peeking out. Jinwoo took her to a quiet forest clearing. They stood side by side, staring up at the endless, glittering sky. Suddenly, a shooting star blazed across the heavens. Neither of them said a word. It was perfect. But back in Seoul, things were getting ugly. Real ugly. Right outside the Korean Hunter Association, a young hunter was walking alone, thinking about the gate. About how in just a couple days, that monstrous thing looming over the city was going to crack wide open. He tightened his fist. He had scars now. He wasn't some rookie anymore, but before he could finish his thought, bam! Someone slammed into him, hard. "Hey man, watch where you're going," he snapped. But when he looked up, he immediately froze. This wasn't a normal guy. No, this was something way worse. All around them, other hunters were starting to notice too. They watched, tense. That man, no, that thing, yet was way too big. Way too wrong. Wait, isn't that Hunter Leon? Why is he acting so weird? The bumped hunter clenched his jaw, puffed his chest out. "You're gonna just stand there after bumping into me?" He barked. "You owe me an apology, jackass." He didn't know how bad he'd just screwed up, because right then, the man opened his mouth, and it was full of razor-sharp teeth. His eyes glowed, and without even a second's warning, he bit down. One scream, and blood sprayed everywhere. The nearby hunters could only stare, frozen in horror. Within seconds, chaos broke out. Explosions rocked the street. Cars flipped over like toys. One poor hunter got slammed into a wall and stuck there like a rag doll. Another saw the monster charge at him, flipping a damn car right into his body. And that monster grinned wickedly and roared, "Pathetic little worms, this is my hunt now. Your skin, your meat, I'll rip it all to shreds. I am the monarch of beasts, the king of fangs. Come at me if you dare." Meanwhile, back in the peaceful forest, Jinwoo and Cha were still oblivious to the nightmare breaking loose downtown. Jinwoo pointed to a small hotel nearby. "Hey, heard there's a nice hotel up ahead. We can grab a shower, maybe some breakfast too." Cha nodded. Sounded good. Jinwoo summoned Kaizul again. "We'll get there in 5 minutes." Cha tilted her head. "Wait, if it's that close, why called the dragon?" Jinwoo just grinned. "Well, close for me could still be like 10 kilometers away." Cha just laughed and shook her head. As they soared through the crisp night air, over mountains and rivers bathed in starlight, neither of them knew that across the city, hell had already begun to break loose. Inside the Hunter Association headquarters, the president was storming through the halls, his aides running after him. "Sir, there's been an attack. Right under our noses." The president frowned. "Casualties?" The aide hesitated. "Sir, it's hard to even count. It's happening right now." The president stared out the window toward the enormous gate looming in the sky. "But the gate isn't even open yet." Something had gone terribly wrong. The sheer sight of this dungeon was already giving the new association president a monster headache. Where the hell did this thing even come from, he wondered, rubbing his temples. He pushed himself up from his chair, voice tight. "Where's Hunter Jinwoo right now?" One of his men shifted uncomfortably. "He's out of contact, sir." "Damn, just his luck." Then another staff member rushed in, panting. "A hunter's engaged the monster! Someone nearby jumped in!" The president's ears perked up. "Who?" The answer came fast. "A world-class hunter. He's the same guy who came to Seoul to meet Sung Jinwoo. Out on the battlefield, that hunter, Leonard Nierman, Germany's top dog, stood frozen, facing the monster. He tightened his fists, trying to steady his breathing. Maybe this was fate, he thought bitterly. Fly all the way to Seoul just to die here. He wasn't even sure if he could beat this thing. But just as he braced himself, wham! A huge hand grabbed Leonard by the back of the head and shoved him aside like a sack of potatoes. "Step aside," a deep voice said. It was Thomas Andre. The Goliath himself had arrived. Meanwhile, across the city, Jinwoo was finishing up dinner with Cha Hae-In. His phone buzzed on the table. He picked it up lazily. "Hello?" On the other end, panic. "Why the hell weren't you answering?" Jinwoo scratched his head. "Out of range, sorry." Then the voice dropped the bomb. A monster just showed up, in the middle of Seoul. Jinwoo blinked. "Wait, what? The gate's not supposed to open for a few more days." "Yeah, well, it's real. It's happening right now." Jinwoo stood up, his chair scraping loudly. "How many monsters we talking?" The association president hesitated. "Just one." Jinwoo frowned hard. "Just one? And you're telling me the whole damn city's going nuts over it?" The president sighed. "This thing is different. One guild tried to take it on. Got wiped out in seconds. Thomas Andre's fighting it now. That made Jinwoo freeze. Thomas? Already in a fight? He gritted his teeth. He had left standing orders. They were supposed to notify him immediately if something weird happened. And right now, everything smelled wrong. Then Jinwoo checked his internal link to his shadow soldiers in Seoul, and his stomach dropped. No signal. Something was jamming them. Shadow soldiers that should have been all over the city. Gone. Just gone. His mind raced. It's hiding, right under their noses. President, he barked over the phone. Check if that monster has a shadow. What? Why? Because the bastards that hide in shadows? Those are the ones you gotta watch the most. Back in Seoul, Thomas Andre squared up against the monster. He shouted to the hunters nearby, "Get the civilians out! Now!" The monster just stood there, grinning. Its very presence made seasoned hunters flinch. It wasn't just some mindless beast. There was something wrong about it. The monster lunged first. Its claws raked against Thomas's armor, but couldn't leave a scratch. In response, Thomas hammered it in the face. One punch, another, a third. The ground cracked under the force. Thomas pinned the beast down, punching it into the asphalt again and again. Meanwhile, a few blocks over, another hunter pulled his car over and asked one of the evac crews, "Hey, what's the status here?" The guy responded, sweating bullets. "Still people in the buildings. White Tiger Guild and Reaper's Guild are helping with evacuation. Reinforcements? Hunters from all over, gathered after the big gate alert. But right now, we're on our own." And it showed, because even Thomas Andre, the living Goliath, was struggling. At one moment, Thomas delivered a devastating blow, sending the monster flying through several city blocks. Concrete, glass, rebar, everything in its path shattered like it was paper. But then, the monster picked itself back up and smiled. That damn smile. It charged, slamming its head right into Thomas's gut. Thomas grunted, managed to grab it, and tossed it over his shoulder. It should have ended there. But midair, the monster twisted and kicked Thomas across the face, sending him flying. Landing hard, Thomas wiped blood from his mouth. This thing's no joke, he realized grimly. I'm gonna have to use everything I've got. By then, White Tiger Guild had arrived too. Their leader took one look at the destruction, at Thomas Andre barely holding the line, and barked orders. All units, prep for battle. But just as they started moving, boom! A building exploded nearby. From the rubble, the monster emerged again, grinning like it was Christmas morning. The White Tiger leader's heart sank when he saw it, and then his eyes landed on Thomas, the Goliath, the legend, the guy even the Americans bowed to. Surely he could win this. But Thomas turned, eyes blazing, and roared at them. "Idiots! Move! Get out of here!" This wasn't going to be a normal fight, and Thomas Andre? He knew it better than anyone. This was a death match. Thomas roared over his shoulder, "Wah, move it! Take cover now!" The White Tiger Guild leader didn't need to be told twice. He took one long look at that monster, and yeah, he knew. This wasn't your everyday dungeon boss. This thing was something else. The guild leader started to transform, preparing for a serious fight. But before he could even finish, the monster was already in his face. And the second their eyes met, the White Tiger boss knew he was screwed. It was pure animal instinct, the same gut feeling a cornered rabbit has when it realizes it's about to die. He couldn't even meet the monster's gaze. His body refused. Then, like a kid bored of his toys, the monster turned and started ripping up cars with telekinesis, hurling them straight at Thomas Andre. Thomas caught the first car, muscles straining. Then the second crashed down, and the third, and the fourth. He was buried under a damn avalanche of metal and glass. But Thomas wasn't about to go down that easy. With a snarl, he pushed off the ground and used his own telekinesis to yank the monster toward him. The second the bastard got close enough, Thomas smashed his fists into it. Over and over he beat it down, pounding it deeper into the street. But something was wrong. Way wrong. Despite all the blows, that ugly feeling in his gut only got worse. It was like something invisible was squeezing his throat. Thomas gritted his teeth and kept swinging anyway, but deep down he knew. This wasn't a win. Not yet. Then the monster laughed. A low, rumbling laugh that made every hair on Thomas's neck stand on end. It reached up, grabbed Thomas's hand, and squeezed. "Pretty impressive," the monster sneered, for a pathetic puppet of the shards of light. Before Thomas's eyes, the monster began to change. Its body swelled, muscles ripping and bulging until it looked even more monstrous. Its voice deepened, vibrating through the air. "Tell me, you feel it, don't you? The terror? The despair?" The White Tiger Guild members watched in horror. Their leader had barely managed to stay standing, and now the monster was still evolving. But then the monster's eyes flicked toward the shadows. It grinned. "Well, well," it sneered. "Look what we got here. A little rat." With a jerk of his hand, the monster yanked something from the wall. One of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, an ant soldier, writhing in its grip. "Hiding in the shadows, dreaming of killing me," the monster laughed, crushing the poor shadow in its fist like it was nothing. The monster turned its attention back to Thomas, smiling cruelly. Maybe it's about time we stop playing. Thomas, bloody but not broken, growled, "Quit talking. Let's go, bastard." Thomas slipped out of the monster's grip, moved behind him fast, and locked his arms around its thick neck. He squeezed with everything he had, muscles bulging, veins popping. For a second, he felt the monster's spine crack under the pressure. He almost smiled, but then he felt it. The crack mended, bones realigned. The thing just healed. The monster grabbed Thomas by the head like he was nothing, slammed him into the ground hard enough to crater the concrete, and snarled, "Man, I'm getting real hungry." And just as the monster was about to go in for the kill, boom! A powerful blast of energy slammed into it from the side. Dust and debris flew everywhere. When the dust cleared, a lone hunter stood between Thomas and the monster. This hunter wasn't some no-name rookie. He was strong, you could tell from the way he held himself. But standing there, facing that nightmare, even he was shaking. Hell, just looking at the thing gave him goosebumps. Behind him, Thomas Andre groaned out, "Run! You're gonna die if you stay." The hunter didn't even turn around. "You don't gotta remind me, sir," he smiled grimly. "But I ain't gonna run. Not today." This was his choice, his stand. Even if it killed him, he'd rather die fighting than live as somebody else's errand boy. The monster lunged, but right before it could tear the hunter apart, whoosh! A massive set of jaws, a shadow dragon, snapped shut around the beast and yanked it into the air. For a split second, hope sparked, but the monster tore through Kaisel like paper, shredding the shadow dragon into nothing. And when it landed back on the ground, it looked up and saw only darkness swirling in front of it. A heartbeat later, bam! Jinwoo crashed down out of the sky, his boots slamming into the monster's head so hard it cratered the street below them. Jinwoo landed lightly next to the battered hunter. Without looking away from the monster, he said, "Get Thomas the hell out of here." The hunter nodded, heart pounding. Down in the hole, the monster laughed again. The old man wasn't lying. You really are the Shadow King. It began changing again, its body expanding, morphing, growing even worse. Jinwoo heard movement behind him. He flicked a glance over his shoulder and saw more enemies appearing from the ground. Insects, gnashing teeth, shadowy figures slithering out of nowhere. System notifications popped up in Jinwoo's vision. Enemy detected, Lord of Frost, Ice Monarch. Enemy detected, Lord of Beasts, Fang Monarch. Enemy detected, Lord of Plague, Insect Monarch. Jinwoo's jaw tightened. Surrounded on all sides, no backup, no easy way out. Above them, the sky split open. A beam of light shot toward the heavens, cutting through the darkness like a sword. The real battle, the one he'd been feeling creeping up for days, had finally begun. The second Jinwoo barked the word, "Appear," the ground at his feet ripped open in a swirl of darkness. From that black void, his shadow army started pouring out like a living tidal wave. The Beast Monarch's face twisted up. What the hell? Even he didn't expect to see this many. The cold monarch, standing back, sucked in a deep breath, and when he exhaled, it was like a glacier exploded out of him. Whoosh! In an instant, everything, every single shadow soldier, froze solid. Frozen mid-step, mid-attack, like some giant had hit pause on reality. The cold monarch chuckled, hands tucked behind his back, all cocky-like. "Yeah, impressive little army you got there. Too bad they're just statues now." Meanwhile, the plague monarch was just standing there, staring at the frozen battlefield. Real sentimental-like. She murmured, "My babies. It's been so long since I saw ya." The cold monarch sneered at Jinwoo. "Honestly? Dropping a little thing like that on us? You must think we're jokes." He tilted his head, sizing Jinwoo up. "Haven't even fully mastered your powers yet, have you, kid?" Jinwoo looked down at his own hand, frozen stiff, cracks running across the ice like spider webs. With a flex of pure will, he shattered the ice, pulled his badass new dagger out, and pointed it straight at the cold monarch. "I'll kill you first." The monarchs didn't like that at all. The cold monarch hissed and summoned his minions. Towering ice trolls stomped into the field. At the same time, the plague monarch shrieked out, and a swarm of grotesque insect creatures flooded out behind her. Jinwoo didn't blink. He launched straight into the army. A giant ice troll swung a club the size of a telephone pole. Jinwoo dodged clean and sliced its damn leg off in a single blur of motion. Shink, shink, shink. He was a storm now, cutting trolls and insects into bloody shreds, racing straight toward the cold monarch. The beast monarch suddenly barreled into his path, fangs bared, muscles rippling. He charged at Jinwoo with enough force to split mountains. The beast monarch snarled, "You really think a little piece of metal can hurt me?" Jinwoo didn't even flinch. Swoosh! He cut the beast monarch's massive hand clean off. "Guess we'll find out," Jinwoo said, dead serious. The beast monarch howled in rage, stumbling back. But before Jinwoo could finish him off, boom! A giant toxic green hand slammed into him out of nowhere. Jinwoo flipped through the air, barely dodging a second swipe. He looked up and saw the plague monarch, floating mid-air, spitting out swarms of her poison hands. Meanwhile, the Beast Monarch regenerated his damn hand. Jinwoo sighed. 3 monarchs at once, no backup. Just him. Suddenly, the battlefield shook, and out of the cracked ice exploded. "My king, I'm coming!" It was Beru. Shadow Commander Beru, his strongest soldier, at once snapped free of his icy prison and charged like a man possessed. Beru blitzed straight at the Plague Monarch, claws flashing. "How dare some brainless bug lay a hand on my king?" The Cold Monarch staggered back in shock. "How is that thing? How's it moving?" The Beast Monarch growled. "Whatever rank he gave his soldiers, it's making them forget their own damn limits." And he lunged at Beru, claws slashing. But Beru wasn't backing down an inch. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was slicing through the swarms of zombie insects, side by side with his loyal commander. Then it happened. One of the Plague Monarch's toxic strikes clipped Jinwoo square in the chest, sending him crashing through the side of a building. Boom! Dust and rubble exploded everywhere. Jinwoo lay there for a second, half buried under concrete, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Before he could even shake the dust off, a tsunami of ice shards came raining down from the sky, millions of them like deadly razors. But he wasn't going to just lie there. He pushed himself to his feet, gritting his teeth, and started batting the shards away with his daggers. From atop a massive block of ice, the Cold Monarch smirked down at him. "How much longer you think you can keep this up, little king?" Jinwoo's dagger flashed, and one perfect throw nicked the Monarch's shoulder. The Cold Monarch snarled, ripping the dagger out, staring in disbelief. Meanwhile, Jinwoo called down a rainstorm of daggers from the sky, an entire armory of shining blades swirling around him. "You talk too damn much," Jinwoo said. "Let's finish this." The Monarch sneered. "You're just an insect. How dare you talk to me like—" But Jinwoo wasn't listening anymore. He exploded forward, aiming straight for the Monarch's heart. The Cold Monarch smiled cruelly, because behind Jinwoo, another Monarch was waiting. Before he could react a slash, Jinwoo took a brutal hit to the back. Pain stabbed through him like lightning. Blood sprayed across the cracked battlefield. Beru's head snapped around, sensing his king's danger. But before he could reach Jinwoo, the Plague Monarch blocked him, cooing, "Come to mama, little bug." She wrapped Beru in her disgusting, toxic arms. Meanwhile, the Beast Monarch loomed over Jinwoo, grinning like a man about to finish off a wounded prey. "It's over, boy." But Beru wasn't having it. Pinned down or not, he roared at the other shadow soldiers. "Get up, you fools! Break the chains! Our king needs us!" And suddenly, all across the frozen battlefield, the Shadow Army began shattering the ice that had trapped them. One by one they rose, and they roared, and they charged. The Shadow Soldiers broke free from their frozen prison, roaring back to life. As they surged forward, Beru led the charge, shouting, "Anyone in our way, we'll crush 'em." The Beast Monarch, watching from the sidelines, chuckled. "Looks like that one's got some serious rank." Didn't realize the higher-ranked ones were going to start waking up too. But then he noticed Jinwoo, still standing, despite the heavy blow he'd taken earlier. The Cold Monarch sneered. "It's over, that wound. You're not getting back up from that." But Jinwoo? He wasn't built like normal people. He straightened his back, gritted his teeth, and activated status restoration. Every wound, every fracture, every ounce of damage, gone in a flash. Across the world, people watching the live stream gasped. In New York, crowds stared at giant screens. In London, commuters froze in the streets, glued to their phones. In Shanghai and Paris, same thing. One hunter, one man, fighting for the entire world. Meanwhile, Korean hunters looked up at the black sky above Seoul, feeling the power crackle in the air. "Is that really Jinwoo?" one of them muttered. "When did he get this strong?" Chairman White just stared silently at the screens, wondering how the hell one kid had closed the gap so fast. Back in the heart of the battlefield, Jinwoo's soldiers were clashing with the Monarch's forces, and they weren't just holding their ground, they were pushing back. Beru sliced off 2 of the Plague Monarch's disgusting insect arms. She shrieked in rage, but before she could retaliate, Jinwoo flashed behind her. "During my battle with the Architect," he said calmly, "I saw it. The pillars holding up this world, they'll fall, but it won't be me who dies." Before the Plague Monarch could even react, he cut her down. She screamed as darkness swallowed her whole. High above the city, one hunter crouched atop a shattered rooftop. He had come here to help deliver the killing blow when the time was right, but looking out over the burning, broken skyline, he knew the truth. There was nothing he could do here. Half an hour earlier, the Reapers and other guilds had set up sniper positions around the battlefield. One signal, and they'd rain down everything they had. But watching now, it was useless. Even Thomas Andre couldn't stop that thing, he thought bitterly. Another hunter grabbed his shoulder. "Just watch. Don't interfere," the man said. The younger hunter clenched his fists, but he stayed put. They all did. They could only watch and pray. Down below, the Plague Monarch tried one last desperate move, blasting Jinwoo with a massive wave of poison. But Jinwoo just turned, his eyes cold. Poison doesn't work on me. He rushed her, locked her down with telekinesis. She couldn't even twitch before he was there. Chaos blade flashing, slicing her into ragged pieces. Her shrieks tore through the battlefield, then silence. Even the creatures of darkness seemed stunned by the sheer power Jinwoo had unleashed. The system popped up with a message. You have defeated the Plague Monarch. Your level has increased. Across the field, the Cold Monarch froze, wide-eyed. He couldn't believe it. He wasn't supposed to be ready yet, he thought. The Beast Monarch growled behind him. Kid doesn't even know how to handle his strength properly. He ain't a real monarch. The Beast Monarch lunged, grabbing Baru by the throat, squeezing tight. Jinwoo, feeling the connection weaken, cursed under his breath. Had he lost the soldiers guarding Thomas Andre too? He tried to cancel the summoning to save them, but it didn't work. That wasn't an option anymore. Snarling, Jinwoo burst forward, punching the Beast Monarch so hard he sent him flying. Baru collapsed, gasping, but alive. Jinwoo barely had time to catch his breath when the Cold Monarch moved. You should really work on controlling your little pets, the Cold Monarch sneered. Otherwise, I'll just keep breaking them, over and over, till they devour you from the inside. He hurled his trident with terrifying force. Jinwoo dodged, barely. The trident smashed into the ground like a meteor. When the Cold Monarch looked again, Jinwoo was gone. Only a heartbeat later, Jinwoo reappeared, slicing at the Monarch's side with his new daggers. The Cold Monarch jerked away, parrying with his trident, knocking Jinwoo aside. But he was breathing harder now. He could feel it. Jinwoo wasn't just strong. He was learning mid-fight, adapting, evolving. I gotta finish this, the Monarch muttered, summoning a second weapon, a wicked icicle sword, in his left hand. He charged, but Jinwoo was already moving, reading every twitch, every shift of weight. Movement, breathing, magic. I can see it all, Jinwoo thought. One mistake, 1/2 second opening, was all he needed. And then Jinwoo was behind the Monarch, his dagger aimed for the heart. But right then, a massive claw burst out of nowhere. The Beast Monarch, sneaking in with a surprise attack. The hunters watching from a distance gasped in horror. The Beast Monarch's attack struck true, and Jinwoo stumbled, blood exploding from his side.